Hello, second grade scientists. Miss Hutchinson here in my backyard for our last science lab of the year. Can you believe it? It's almost time for summer. We have been working with properties of materials, looking at materials to find the best one to solve a problem, and more recently, what happens to materials when they get heated up. Do you remember our candy melt from last lab? Fantastic. We're going to run with that and we're going to talk about those changes from heat. There were two types of changes from heat that a material can undergo. Why don't you turn and tell someone at home what you remember? Can you think of either of those two types of changes? Let me remind you, there are physical changes from heat and chemical changes from heat. Physical changes are ones that can be reversed. The material kind of just changes state or its shape. It doesn't actually change its molecular setup. So you could put it back to its original state before it underwent that change from heat. Now a chemical change is irreversible. Once it happens, you can't put the thing back the way it was before the heat got applied. So today we're going to do a fun activity where we actually use a physical change from heat to make some art. It's a crayon melt and it's pretty easy to do. Let's check our materials really quickly and then we can get started. The materials you will need to do this crayon melt art at home are old crayons, glue, white glue or hot glue gun with parent help, a canvas, poster board, cardboard, or even paper to glue it on, a hairdryer for heat, newspaper or some covering to cover your workspace, and if you want it, masking tape or painter's tape to make a design under the crayons. Now that you've seen the material list, let me show you what I've got. I've got two different cups filled with crayons because I have two different poster boards, a blank one and one with a design, so that hopefully once I peel it away after the crayons melt, I'm going to have a heart left behind. I've got my hair dryer with this extra piece that's going to help me control my air, and my white glue. You can see that my tabletop is already covered in some paper because it's going to get messy. Now that we have our materials, let's double check the steps and the procedures to do this art at home. Procedure 1. Remove the wrappers from the crayons, or leave them on if you prefer. 2. Arrange the crayons at the top of your art surface in the desired order with the pointy end pointing down and glue them in place. 3. Cover your work surface with newspaper or something else. It's going to get messy. 4. Hold the hairdryer near the top of the crayons and blow the hot air down over them. Depending on your hairdryer, you may need to adjust the heat and fan setting as you go. 5. It may take a few minutes, but the crayons will melt. When you're happy with your melted creation, turn off the hairdryer. 6. You can add tape in a design before melting, then peel it away at the end to see what's left behind. You can pause the video here to try it on your own, or keep watching to see how I do it. All right, you've seen the steps it takes. You could pause there if you want and just follow the steps and do it on your own. I'm going to walk you through it step by step and we'll see how it goes. So, step 1 says to remove the papers from the crayons if you want. I'm actually going to leave them on. I think it could be kind of cute to leave them on there. So, I'm going to leave them on, and now it's arranging them in order. I'm going to go rainbow order so I have that in my brain, and I'm just going to start gluing. I'm going to start with my blank one and leave my taped one for after, but I'm going to start gluing. So let me angle this down a bit so you can see what I'm doing, and we'll start with gluing. So I have this cup of crayons. I'm going to start with my reds. I have a couple reds to choose from. This one's actually called red. I'll start with the one that says red. All right. Open up my glue. Get it going. A nice line of glue down the crayon. Remember, we want to do pointy side down. I'm going to leave a little bit of space at the edge of my board so it doesn't all just go flying right off. Okay. All right, there's one. Next one, razzmatazz. Nice line of glue. Rotate it right next to it. And I'm trying to line up the edge right with the edge of the board. Remember, point down, just enough glue. All right, I'm going to keep going. You guys can check back. I'm going to keep going, and we'll check back in a couple minutes. That way you don't have to watch me glue for a crayons glued down. Here's my plain one with my crayons all glued nicely. And then here's the one with the tape that I'll take off later with the crayons glued nicely as well. I'm going to put this one off to the side again. And I'm going to start with my plain one. Now, my workspace is covered. I do have a pot I found in my garden in case I can kind of prop up my board. I'll have to hold it a little bit. And then, like I said, your hairdryer might have different temperature settings. It might have different power settings. I'm going to start mine on the highest temperature and the highest fan setting, wind setting. So I'm going to start with hot. We'll watch for a couple minutes and then we'll check back. Here we go. I'm going to do one section at a time and see if I can start to notice a physical change to my crayons. I'm starting to notice that they're melting. It's just not dripping yet. All right, now that you can start to see that it's melting, the wax is dripping, and we're gonna get some art, I'm gonna pause here and we'll check back in a couple minutes and I'm gonna keep working. All right, let's check back in a few minutes. I told you it would take a while, didn't I? Are you ready to see my final results? I used that hairdryer for probably 15-20 minutes between my two poster boards, and I could have gone longer if I wanted more color to drip down. But I'll show you what I got to in that amount of time. So here's my plain one. Nice melting. I could do some more and have color drip even further down if I want, or maybe I'll write some words down here and keep it in art for that way. And then with my masking tape, I peeled away the masking tape. I gotta say, it's a little tricky, so you're gonna want help. But it worked. So I have a white heart in the middle, my color is all around it, and I could put words here, I could put words here, I could figure out what to do with it. I probably won't melt anymore on this one just because I don't want there to be color inside the heart, but we'll see what happens. And there you go. So boys and girls, you now have all the materials, all the steps to give it a try at home, so I very much hope that you do. Maybe not this weekend, but as I said, summer's coming up, so it could be a great activity to do this summer. Boys and girls, that's all I've got for you. I hope you have a wonderful, safe, and fun summer, and until I see you next time, stay curious, little scientists.